More in the Liquid Dew of Youth. Smoke Pit Fairy Tales, Part 5. Chapter 3. Peggy Mullan's Red Hot Beef Steak Club. Thatch, Akon, and Chuck sat at the King and Tun, waiting for McKenzie to bring them drinks and a bar food dinner. The television over the bar replayed Commandant Peroska's speech from the night prior.
Can you believe that?
McKenzie asked, placing the beers and rum in front of them.
How do you think that's going to pan out?
Akon shook her head.
I don't know, man. Hopefully they speedball the election and get someone in office.
I have very little faith in that.
Thatch admitted.
Me too. But we can hope.
Akon took a sip of her drink.
Why hasn't anything else about the actual attack been released?
Chuck asked.
Well, it's only been a day.
You'd think they'd show something.
Chuck took a bite out of a wing covered in a tangy red sauce. It would never have been guessed from its consistency, but it was only ketchup in Louisiana-style red hot. He bit with his natural fang. The gold one he had was stronger, but the metal didn't fit quite right in his gum, and if he were to get a bit of food stuck in it, he would have to spend all night trying to fish it out. Thatch watched Peroska on the screen talk about the Russians undermining the American people. The gears in his head started turning, thinking about the recent Russian movements.
Ivan's only been building defensive positions around Venus.
Yeah, and?
Akon wiped the grease off her face with a napkin.
We don't have a shred of evidence that suggests they've even sent a single flotilla past us.
That is a bit strange.
Yeah, but they are building defenses like crazy.
Well, can you blame them after last year?
Nah, we fucked up their fleet pretty hard. I mean, yeah, it's natural that they'd want revenge for Volgograd, but they're showing no signs of pushing towards Mars.
Then what the hell is Peroska talking about?
That's the million-dollar question.
The next morning, Thatch stepped out of his sloop and swiped a security badge on the front door of the headquarters building. Samum was sitting at the security desk. He paused for a moment, hesitant to initiate conversation with her. He thought to himself,
Just be professional, this'll go smooth. Hey, what you doing here? I thought you were in the legal section.
Samum smiled at him.
I'm the building's duty today. And no, I'm actually working in the Assistant Commandment's office.
Samum leaned up and looked at the silver bars sitting on the black and gray digital camouflage uniform's collar.
Sir?
Her eyes lit up and she sat up straight, impressed with Thatch's achievement.
When did that happen?
Right after Volgograd.
Samum limited her smile to not show her teeth.
Well then, good morning, fine sir.
Thatch smiled and gave her a single nod.
And congratulations to you on picking up Sergeant.
Samum let her teeth show again.
Thank you.
The two of them stared at each other awkwardly for a few moments before Thatch pointed to the electronic door release for the main building and asked,
Can you buzz me in?
I absolutely can.
Samum hit the button on the lock and the door popped open. Thatch waved and made his way to his office. Not long after he opened his computer, Glaedwine pushed through the door.
Hey, Ma.
Morning.
She said in her still thick Texas accent. She opened the coffee maker lid on Thatch's desk and poured in a large bottle of water.
Where are your grounds?
Thatch slid open a drawer and tossed her a bag of dark roast. As she set up the machine, she told him,
You know, I used to hate coffee. I would only ever drink tea.
Yeah?
Thatch knew that, but he let her continue.
Yeah, it made me hard to shop for. I remember once when I was a corporal, I was standing barracks duty, and your dad, who lived there, brought me a pumpkin spice latte, trying to be kind. But since I only drank tea, he was stuck with it.
How'd that go?
Thatch asked, knowing the answer. He had heard most of her stories thousands of times, but didn't want to be rude.
Hank drank it. He hated it, but he drank it. He tried to play it off like it wasn't a big deal and that he didn't have a crush on me.
Thatch faked a chuckle.
I know that.
Glaedwine called him out on his snickering farce.
What's going on?
What do you mean?
That's your fake laugh.
Glaedwine pulled a mug out from the cabinet hanging over Thatch's desk.
Just some personal stuff I got going on.
Like what, honey?
Did you notice the duty up front today?
Which one?
Sergeant Nazik.
The plump one with the big ass?
Yeah, her.
What about her?
Thatch leaned back in his chair.
Do you remember that girl I was complaining about last time I was on leave before Volgograd?
Yes.
That's her.
A look of mild shock smeared across Glaedwine's face.
Huh. Small world.
Yeah. She's also living in the townhouse right next door to me.
Oh, sweetheart. I mean, that's terrible.
She poured the fresh coffee into her mug.
Do you want me to get her orders out of here?
Thatch shook his head.
No, I don't want to be petty about it.
Okay. Well, if you change your mind on that, let me know. I'll get her out of the unit in less than an hour.
I know you would, Ma.
Glaedwine grabbed another mug and poured that to drink.
So what else is going on?
Thatch asked as he took a sip.
Well, the Commandant is moving the Oval Office here.
What?
Thatch spat out his coffee in disbelief.
He's going to tackle running the country and the Corps at the same time.
Thatch put his mug on the desk and wiped the coffee up with his sleeve.
Shouldn't that be the Assistant Commandant's job if Peroska's gonna do what he's doing?
General Peroska is relying heavily on him. But General Cecil will do a good job as he always has.
Great.
Thatch huffed. not pleased with the news.
So, now on top of a bunch of idiot Marines running around here, the cabinet's gonna be here too.
Thatch realized his comments might sound like dissent and tried to cover it with a joke.
Am I gonna have to give up my office?
No. Most of the president's cabinet was killed in the attack. The commandant's going to have Marines here hold those positions.
What about the Admiral of the Navy? Where's he fit into this? Shouldn't he be covering down on it?
No. He's leaving that to General Peroska.
And no one's concerned with the conflicts of interest.
Thatch. It's a tough time. And this kind of situation hasn't been faced before in our country's history. We're doing the best that we can. I know it's easy to be cynical, but we've got to hold it together if we're going to keep this country together.
What about...
I used to be fired up by politics too. I know there's a lot of corruption in Congress, but maybe this is our chance to straighten things out. Hit the reset button.
Thatch wasn't comforted by her words.
Ma, I can't help that this whole thing stinks. Something's rotten in the state of Denmark.
I know how it looks, but I think you're a bit paranoid.
Glaedwine took her mug and left the room. Thatch watched over the next few weeks as the executive cabinet migrated to the Marine Corps headquarters building. He leaned on his office's threshold with a cup of coffee and watched the cubicle section on the main floor transform as aides from the Capitol filled in to serve their new masters.
Ugh. Do you think we'll at least get better funding?
Akan asked him.
We better get something.
Have you heard anything about the investigation?
No, I haven't seen anything in the news besides the words gruesome and too graphic to show audiences.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything from the investigations division either. I don't even know who's doing it.
I heard something about the Marsh's PD conducting it, but from what I understand, a bunch of dudes in unmarked hazmat suits cleaned the place out before the cops were even allowed in.
You think it was an inside job?
Akan suggested, nervously.
No, if anything, it's probably just being poorly handled.
Thatch took a sip of his coffee as he watched junior Marines help overpaid civilians move into their desks.
I mean, who would do that?
What do you mean?
Like, who would be able to carry out an attack like that, wipe out the entire succession and cover it up like that? Like, what would their motives be? The obvious answer would be to point the finger at Peroska, but I don't think that's right.
Why not?
There's no way he'd be able to seize power like that. There's other generals that would have chomped at the bit first. Plus, he's too much of a pussy to order that kind of thing. And even if he did, I highly doubt he'd be able to pull it off without Sergeant Major Glaedwine's help. That man can't even pour his own coffee in the morning, and much less plan a mass covert operation like that.
Akan mulled over Thatch's words.
Yeah, but his speech seemed pretty pre-planned.
No, I don't think so. The one thing he is good at is talking. That's how he got the commandant. Politics, not competence.
He is a windbag.
Captain Robert Salisbury looked over the main room as he returned from the head. He stopped by Thatch and Akan as he passed.
Good morning.
Good morning,
Morning.
sir.
This is kind of a clusterfuck, don't you think?
Yeah.
Thatch spoke slowly. He remembered Salisbury cheering while Peroska's speech was broadcasting and didn't want the captain to know he was unsatisfied with the regime change.
You'd think they'd hire movers instead of using lance corporals.
Salisbury smiled through a scoff.
That's what the enlisted are there for, am I right?
He slapped Akan's shoulder with the back of his hand, jokingly.
That's one way of looking at it.
She replied, masking her disdain for his comment.
Plus, you have to have a top secret clearance to even come into this room, so movers wouldn't fit the bill.
Salisbury looked into Thatch's office.
You mind if I bring my mug by and grab some Joe?
Thatch did mind. His comment about the use of enlisted men vexed him, but Salisbury was the assistant commandant's aide, and Thatch couldn't really tell him no. He just replied in a flat tone.
Sure, sir, although all I have left is cinnamon mint pumpernickel.
Salisbury winced.
No thanks, Lieutenant. I'll just grab some from somewhere else.
Then he made his way towards his office. Akan glared at the back of Salisbury's head until he was out of sight.
So what's really in there?
Dark roast. Coffee's supposed to be black.
That's what I thought.
She put her hands in her pockets and returned her eyes to the mess unfolding before them.
That guy's a fucking prick.
Well,
Thatch sipped his coffee. At around 1800, Thatch locked his door and headed to the King and Tun, where he found Stockton sitting at the bar.
sup, dude?
Thatch said, sitting down.
Nada.
She took a sip of her beer.
Just grabbing chow. You?
Same.
What can I get you, dude?
McKenzie asked when he noticed Thatch.
Peggy Mullan's Red Hot Beefsteak Club sandwich and a lager.
Coming right up.
McKenzie threw the towel he was using to clean the glasses over his shoulder and relayed the order to the cooks.
So, Nazik got orders here?
Stockton glanced over at Thatch.
How's that treating you?
Thatch rolled his eyes.
It's whatever. We're doing the polite smile and wave as we pass thing, but it's not going any further than that.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Stockton smiled facetiously.
Yep. It could be worse. At least I don't have Ramsey living next door to me.
Yeah, how the fuck did that guy get orders here?
Oh, who the hell knows? This whole thing seems like a bad dream.
Tell me about it.
Seriously, like, I'm not about to go off myself or anything, but I feel like I'm always on edge, and I keep having these weird nightmares about one of those things on Volgograd.
We did lose a lot of Marines.
Most of them.
Thatch took a sip.
And I don't feel like things are bleak or pointless, but just when things are starting to fit back together, it seems like the weeds grow up and overtake the garden.
You ever think about skipping school and taking some leave?
I don't think it's that bad.
No. But some time off couldn't hurt. Shit, you've only, taken 2 weeks off since our last deployment?
Yeah.
Well, Christmas is coming up. Why don't you take some time off for that?
I can't. I mean, I could, but, I'd want to spend it with Ma, and she's a good old Sag man, so, I won't really be escaping work for that.
So no plans for Christmas?
No.
Well, we can find something to do.
We usually do.
McKenzie brought Thatch's sandwich.
Thanks, Jorge.
No problem.
You know, there's an old legend that says all throughout the night on Christmas Eve, the roosters crow all night long. That way, they scare away the ghosts and the goblins and the other monsters. That night's so holy that witches can't cast spells, poltergeists can't haunt, and the zodiac doesn't even work.
When you say old legend, do you mean Earth?
Yeah.
Well, Earth's been uninhabitable for 30 years and we're on Mars. How's that supposed to help here?
Don't ruin Christmas for me.
It's November 5th.
Yeah, I love Christmas and all, but that doesn't start until the day after Thanksgiving.
Fuck you guys. Trying to ruin Christmas and shit.
Stockton filled her mouth with her drink.
Have you ever heard of the Krampus?
My battery is about dead, so I gotta make this quick. But anyway, thanks for listening to another chapter episode of More Than the Liquid Do of Youth. Thank you so much, very much, to my Patreon members and my YouTube subscribers and people who've gotten the word chest. We're almost in every state now. Also, quick bit of updating news. I've been cutting the scripts for Smoke Pit Fairy Tales 7, 8, and 9, so I will be putting a casting call out soon. But if you want to get on board that, hit me up on Instagram or shoot me an email or something, and we'll get your voices in there. All right, I gotta go because I was irresponsible and did not charge the battery for this camera. Okay, I will talk to you soon. You guys enjoy the bloopers. Have a good one. Ciao.
Sound check. Sound check. Sound check. Checking the sound.
Alright, kind of going through these pretty quick. Chapter 3. Peggy Mulligan, I cannot fucking talk, dude.
Red Hot Beefsteak Club. Red Hot Beefsteak Club. Order yours today. The Red Hot Beefsteak Club sandwich. It comes with a frilly toothpick or 4.
Chapter 3, Peggy Mulligan's Red Hot Beef Steak Club. Chapter 3, Peggy Mulligan's Red Hot Beef Steak Club. Chapter 3, Peggy Mulligan's Red Hot Beef Steak Club.
Hey, I've read Hamlet.
Testy.
Fuck, I hate her.
Sure, sir. Although all I have left is cinnamon mint pumpernickel.
The two of them stared at each other awkwardly.
Good morning.
Yeehaw, motherfuckers. She's saying her still thick Texas accent. I can't fucking do a real Texas accent, but I can do the one that people in other countries think they fucking sound like.
Okay.
They're turning the frogs gay, he said calmly.
Right now they're in the HQ. And I'm also drinking coffee. Haha. Method acting.
That Smadge has some fucking badge on her. That's how you say a girl got nuts? They just have nuts.
Sorry, I'll do that one more time.
I read Hamlet.
Apologies if you hear rumbling. That's the wonderful garbage men. And believe me, I'm grateful for them.
Something is rotten in the state of Denmark. I fucking read Hamlet. Fuck.
Why does this sound weird?
Thatch. Same. True. What's up?
There you go, mate. Sweet. Okay, I'll send that one.
I feel more at my leisure to fuck around when things are going smoothly. I'm going to stop recording.